Hey, welcome. This is the outlet. How everybody doing? So, we will be talking about what are we waiting for? Like, that's the topic, man. Like, what is the black community waiting for, right? I mean, the time is now. Bump later, you know? So why wait, you know? Everybody else is having their heaven right here and now. While so many of us are struggling, right? And some even, you could say, living in, hell. You could actually say that, right? So many people in the entertainment and some of the pastors, they only want to show off their cars or cribs, they're just so materialistic, right? While at the same time, there are so many people that are homeless, right? Just struggling. And yet you can see these entertainers and pastors are in leadership positions, right? Doing nothing for the people. Which I think is like crazy, right? I mean, they're in positions that would make them role models, basically. So like it's just crazy, man. Like, and some of these rappers, are I've actually heard them say they're not role models, but I'm sorry to tell you, like y'all are role models, right? Kids look up to you, you know, because of well, put it this way, some kids even see you as almost like parents, like to an extent, right? Like because their actual parents aren't around, right? So you're role models basically, like you really are. But most of these entertainers will just say people just hating, right? While at the same helping destroy our communities, right? They will say that the people that's criticizing them are hating, but at the same time they're participating in destroying our communities. I think it's crazy. It's insane the brainwashing, but that's what's going on, right? And little kids see a lot of these. It isn't all black entertainers, but a lot of black entertainers living a life, but don't realize that they are controlled by white people, basically, right? The white people that are the white people that own these companies that they work for. And what the white people have, they'll dress up the rapper, right? And you get to see all the glamour, right? But you're not understanding what's actually behind that. And the music is just so toxic, right? And nothing is going to change until we take control, right, of our own product, right? I mean, I remember when we had De La Soul and Tupac, right? And now the music seems to be way more negative, right? I'm not saying that all the music back then wasn't negative, 'cause I know they did have some negative music back then. But man, eventually we're gonna have to change the game, man, and we're gonna have to start winning. And right now it's basically white people picking all the winners, right? It's time for us to start owning things, right? This is a capitalist society. And when I say owning things, I'm pertaining to starting businesses and starting our own leagues so we can funnel a lot of the money into our own communities, right? I mean, because if we don't, we already see that white people don't like to hire black people. I mean, that's pretty clear, right? Colleges have been promoting racism, right, for the longest, right? This has been something that's been perpetual in our society. And now we have multiple white supremacists in high positions, right? Well, they always have been up there, if you want to be honest. Um, there are multiple white supremacist groups, right? At least that's what the FBI says, right? Um, and yet for so long, colleges have been promoting a lot of this stuff, right? Many of the frats and sororities, right? They um they promote white supremacy, right? And nothing has really changed except for the fact that they aren't hosing us down the streets. But now they choose to do it economically, right? Practice racism. Um, they have shown that they don't want to share. They only care about domination, and domination is what they teach their kids, right? And their system that they practice. We can act like white supremacy doesn't exist, but the fact is, it does. And for so long, liberals have acted like it doesn't exist and have done nothing to defend against white supremacy, right? And you could say that's because a lot of, well, not all liberals, but there are some white supremacists that are in, or that claim to be liberals too, right? And if you do nothing, then you clearly support the system. So when I see a white person saying that they're down, right? Like, I'm looking at you like, what have you done, like, to try to change the status quo? What have you done to go against the system? And the system is right now white supremacy. And it's been that way for some years now, right? Hundreds of years, right? And we also know that white supremacists are recruiting black people to try to make it seem as if America is no longer racist. Truth is racism, and it's never left, right? Truth is that racism has never left, and it's gotten worse if we are being honest, right? Just because they have switched from physical attacks to economic attacks doesn't mean the system has changed. It's simply the tactics have changed. And sure, there is good white people out there. A lot of a lot of times, though, that white people that claim to be good are quiet on the subject, right? Being quiet and doing nothing is supporting the current system, which is white supremacy. In the past, right, white people used this tactic everybody calls white flight, where they basically took all the money from the cities and created the suburbs, right? And now some of them are trying to come back to the cities, right? And we call this gentrification. Now, why won't black people support each other, right? One has to ask. And we could say one of the big problems, right, is that most black people have been brainwashed, right? Or a lot of black people have been brainwashed. And some of them just won't change their minds unless something catastrophic happens to the black community. Reason being is because so many of black people have been taught by white people something called individualism, which is basically getting yours and bump everybody else. So you're playing individualism while white people are working as a team, right? And what they say, two heads is always better than one. So some blacks are actually ignorant enough to believe everything white people tell them, right? White people have been running the same game for a while. Black parents, I guess you could say, haven't been teaching their children. Then you have the black entertainers and the overclass doing nothing for the community, while white supremacists are taking care of them. The cycle continues because the black smart enough are usually bought off by white people, right? And it's a perpetual cycle. It will never end till blacks take a stand. Till blacks teach their kids the truth. I hope more cool whites, right, and white people will go against white supremacy and take more of a stand. But the racism has been throughout all industries because white men usually owns most companies, right? And a lot of times when blacks have their own companies, a lot of times they're sabotaged by white supremacists. And nothing will change as long as this continues to be the status quo. So who will rise to the solution that is needed in America? There is so much hate because there is so much racism and unfairness, right? But if you ask a conservative who cares about unfairness, right? That's exactly what they'll say, right? If you ask a conservative who cares about unfairness, that's what they'll say. Who cares about unfairness? And so many of these types are in high leadership positions, and you wonder why America is in such turmoil. If you look at how much hate is in America right now, man, you would think there's a good chance America is going to be ripped from inside, right? It's going to be ripped apart from the inside. And it's simply because America refuses to address how the country was started. Everyone seems to want to avoid the topic, but it's clear there is a lot of problems in America. That is how bad things are getting, right? And it's time to address the real problems in America. It's time to stop electing politicians who are nothing but puppets of corporations. These problems are radical, so the solution has to be radical also, right? I mean, we have banks, right? Banks don't like to loan black people money for businesses. And if they do, it's a smaller amount compared to white men. White men has had it easy for a while. For so long, you could say. I wonder what's going to happen once people realize it was white men who messed everything up. At least that's what some people are going to say, right? Since white men have been in control of everything for so long. Climate change is going to be considered a problem, right? That was started by white men, since white men were the ones who been in power, right? They're the ones that's been controlling everything. So honestly, white men are going to get the blame for everything, if we're being honest. Have you ever heard that phrase, with great power comes great responsibility? I think that's like a phrase that they use in Superman. But, I mean, there's some truth to that, right? If you have power, right, you kind of have responsibility as well. But I would say this, when it comes to black people, the main solution is black businesses. Because white people are not going to hire us for the most part. They might hire some coons and pick a few coons to be in the limelight, right? And it'll sort of just make the black community that hasn't reached that level, just make them jealous, right? And they try to make it seem like every black person can reach this level, but it's pretty clear that white people have set it up where only a certain amount of black people can get through that door, right? It's time to break the cycle, man. Simple as that. It's time to own our own music and owning our own record labels, businesses, movies, which are well, I mean, it's some people that do this on a smaller scale, but keep that going and create our own leagues and own tech companies and etc. Right? I mean, we need our own grocery stores on the scale of a Walmart, right? It's simply time to create. So many of our people are suffering, right? We don't have our own businesses, and that's the main issue, right? Not only do we don't have our own business, not only do we have to do build our own business, but we have to build on that scale. And when I say build them at scale, I'm just talking about making them larger, right? Um, Expand your business. We have to teach that it's better to be the owner than an employee. It's better to own the team than be the basketball player, right? In a capitalist society, it's the owner who gets the most money. Some people act like this isn't true, right? Many of these schools are teaching our kids to be employees, right? And teaching them it's better to be the employee than the owner. And that's a problem, right? I mean, a lot of these schools are just getting black people ready to serve white people. Simply, I mean, that's kind of what it is, right? And it's sort of incredible to see how long this has been going on. To see that some black people still support white people before their own, which is incredible to me, and it's sort of crazy. Well, it is crazy, but it's it's real, all right. Some black people really support white people before their own. Then have the audacity to wonder why we're doing so bad when you're part of the problem, right? Ask yourself when the last time you spent some money at a black business. When is the last time you spent some money at a black business? So not only have white people set up a system against us, but they have also been committing brainwashing techniques against us. So we have to combat these tactics. There has also been some laws passed, right, recently that ban abortion. Yeah, I heard about this. These new laws have been passed that ban abortion. And in many states, right, it's white men saying women can't get abortions. And I'm guessing some white women are okay with that, right? And it's sort of like a religious thing too, right? But I always used to hear that Republicans call Democrats like they be the ones that create a nanny state. Um, I might be using that in the wrong way, maybe. But we basically have the Republicans telling you what you can do and can't do, right? Like they're imposing this on you. They're no longer giving you the choice. They're taking away the choice. But I've been hearing people justify banning abortion with religion, right? The same way religion was used to justify slavery. That was also something, right? Christians actually justified slavery with their religion. But I'm not going to go any deeper on this episode when it comes to that, right? Because there's a lot we could say about how religion is used, right? Um, there was also not too long ago a report that says Florida election machines was hacked by Russia, which we already knew. Like a lot of machines were hacked, right, by the Russians in this past election, right? But now it comes out that Florida election machines were hacked, and cybersecurity is just so important, right? And I also hear AI, which is artificial intelligence, is going to be like a big thing, right, in the future, which everybody should get ready for. That's also something that black people should study also. Um, but yeah, man. Let's see what else we got. I'm going into the news right now. some things that have happened. And Senator Biden, um, he had brought up an incremental approach or a smaller approach to climate change, right? And AOC had went off on him, which I thought was kind of funny. Um, but Senator Biden, I don't think he won't take things far enough that the country needs, right? I don't think he's up for the challenge. He's more of a moderate, right? And we need somebody that's progressive, right? Someone that's willing to go big, right? Go big or go home. He's simply not progressive enough for the problems that we have in this country, I don't think. Unless he showed me different, but from his past, And then he also had a thing with the crime bill, like he actually supported that the crime bill that was passed by Bill Clinton. So I have a lot of issues with Joe Biden. Um, the problems we have are just so um, seismic or just big as crap, you could say. We just need somebody that's going to go big, basically. Also, I just seen this story, but it's actually something that's kind of old though. But it says some Ohio State doctor sexually abused at least 177 male students. I'm just like, wow. But then it said it looks like the doctor actually worked there from 1979 to 1998. So this is something that happened in the past, right? And it's so long ago. But like, this is something that's been going on for a long time, right? Doctors abusing. Well, I'm not saying all doctors are like this, but there are some doctors out there that that will sexually abuse you, right? But yeah, so doctor that sexually assaulted multiple. Let me see what else. There was also this other doctor, right? Um, named Larry Nasser. Nasser. Guess that's how you say his last name. But he actually sexual assaulted multiple gymnastic female athletes, and I'm talking about in the hundreds. Like, it's crazy. It's just hard to trust a lot of people these days, right? Especially at these institutions. A few years back, right? There was what was that coach at Penn State that was molesting people, which was crazy. Um, so yeah, man. I mean, a lot of these people that appear in these positions, right, are just terrible people. But I mean, it's not all people that's in leadership positions, by the way, but a lot of them just aren't good people, right? You really got to pay attention to who's around you, because you never know who somebody really is, right? Something else that happened though. Um, Robert F. Smith was giving a speech and promised he was going to pay the college graduates' loans off. Look like I think he did that in the commencement speech, and he's promising to pay all the students that go to Morehouse. I might have said that wrong. Yeah, it's all he's paying all the student loan debt off for all the students that go to Morehouse College. And the way he said it was, him and his family is going to create a grant that pays the student loan debt off for all the college students that go to Morehouse, which is cool, right? Like, we need more people to do that, right? That are willing to take it that far. But at the same time, we just simply need more black billionaires, right? There's not a whole bunch of them, right, compared to white people, right? We probably can count them all on two hands, probably, the amount of black billionaires there is. Um, but we could create more, right? Just support each other. I believe we could do that. Um, but yeah, man, it's just crazy, man. The time is now. Bump later. Also, Morehouse, if you didn't know, is Black Historical College University in Atlanta, Georgia. If you didn't know, so Robert L. Smith is helping out in HBCU, which is so cool. Um, and we need more people to help out in society, right? But yeah, that's all I'm gonna talk about, man. On this episode, I'm gonna talk to y'all later, man. Y'all be cool.